Hi. This is Todd, and I am live streaming from Washington on the Brazos State Historic Site in Texas. Hey Jeff, how you doing, buddy? Kind of an impromptu pop-up here. You know all about that, right? We're prone to that, aren't we? Let's see. I talk to you. Hi, Kissy Cat. Oh, that's Deb. Hey, Deb. Deb and Jeff, that's good enough for me to start because this is really a test. Here's what I'm up to. Let me turn this around and show you something. That is the backside of the Visitor Center at Washington on the Brazos State Historic Area. And I came up here today to check it out. There are a couple of things that I wanted to do. One is a test to see the phone signal strength, if I would be able to live stream from here. And it's looking pretty good. From the parking lot to get to this trailhead, you have to go through the building. I lost connection probably because of that metal roof, but as soon as I walked out the back door, I got it back. So that's all good. And what this place is like say Philadelphia would be where our founding fathers, right? They got together and declared independence from England. Well, this is the site where the founding fathers of Texas got together and declared their independence from Mexico after being mistreated. Right down below us there is the Brazos River. What this is they reconstructed over the past 2 or 3 years. There's been a major project here. They discovered some things. And there has been a ton of, what do you call it? Where they dig stuff. What are those people called? Archaeology. They found some things, and that was kind of opened the door, the key to locating and uncovering the old Washington town site. They knew it had been here in this area or on this property, but not exactly where. And through all the digging they did and all the archaeology and studying, they've been able to reconstruct the town and where everything was and how it was laid out. And that's what's on this table, kind of showing you all about what was here at one time. Going back to this is a test still. There's no way I'm going to be able to do my walkthrough and go through everything that's here at this site. It's 293 acres, I believe. And this project that I was talking about was over $50 million renovation, restoration of the building, the museum, the conference center, and reconstructing many of the buildings that they are now aware of that were here back in the day, right? So I think it's pretty cool. A lot of history here. You know, I love history. Got prayers for your sister, Deb. I hope things are coming along well. I'm getting caught up on the chat here. Got the all clear 3 months ago. They're checking blood work. That's good. That's wonderful news. Cool. Parker, that was one of your dogs, right? Yeah, well, I love the pets too, but we're worried about your sister than the pups, right? Deb, do you have another dogs? So is Lily still with you, or do you have just Lily now? It's not Jeff. It's a I think it's 52 degrees. Got a breeze blowing, so it's a little chilly, but it's fine, not a problem. So I'm just there's a trail here. Get back to this. It's 1.6 miles. I'm not going to walk the whole trail today. That's what I intend to do, is spend a good while here and probably live stream for an hour, hour and a half, maybe 2 hours to kind of show stuff. Man, that's a big old oak tree. Okay, what do we have here? Today was just to explore, kind of get the feel of the place. I was in the visitor center for a good bit, talking to the ladies and getting the information about the do's and the don'ts and all that stuff. And one thing I learned, this place closes at 5 p.m. Central Time. So there's no way I can walk the trail, and I didn't intend to today. This is a scouting mission, recon, and I just decided, hey, I'm going to do a little live stream. If I'm going to test it, might as well test it in real life. So, hi, Jay Miller. Welcome in. We're at Washington on the Brazos State Historic Area. I'm seeing if I am going to be able to do an extended live stream from here in the future, kind of a test, but I'm going to walk a little bit of the trail just to kind of see what's up here. So apparently the Alexander Duggins cabin that was built around 1835 used to be right here. They didn't rebuild that whole town that we showed on, that was out over there on the display. I guess this just shows this is where that cabin was. And the trail is really nice. And I see there's other buildings over there. We're gonna go, I have no idea what that is. I just know a lot of this is the reconstruction of the old town site where Texas independence was declared. Here we have the Abraham Dillard cabin. Apparently was right here on this site. And what would those cabins look like that those people lived in back in those days? Well, let's see. There is one of them right here. Check out the fence. They have reconstructed the fence like in the old way. Hi, Veronica. Hi, we're at a historic site where Texas independence was declared. They just spent $50 million renovating this and restoring it after they discovered where the old town site was. That's very historic. Things like Davy Crockett stopped here and stayed on his way to the Alamo. And this is to Texas what Philadelphia is to the United States. So check out the cabin built the old way, all right, with logs and probably like an adobe to fill in the gaps in between the logs. And I don't think we can go in here. You have to be on a tour, I think, to go in. Yeah, that's like an adobe mud. And yeah, we can't go in there. That's okay. It's not like we're going to go check out their big screen TV or anything like that. The thing that I find interesting, I think this fence built the old, it would have been built in the 1800s, is pretty cool. And check out the top of the chimney. It's like a whiskey barrel or something. Apparently that was the stack. I thought at first that must be for catching water, but to catch water, it wouldn't be at the top. It would be at the bottom with like guttering, directing water off the roof to the barrel. That's the chimney stack. Interesting. But yeah, cool. So there's an old cabin, and a bench built the old school way too. An old man bench, right? That's what Donnie would call it if he saw this. Hi, NDR. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming in, Chris. This happens when you do something like this and new people come in. You've already told the people that were here what you're doing, and you kind of need to do a quick review. Right quick, I'm at the Washington on the Brazos State Historic Site. This is where Texas independence was declared from Mexico, and they just spent over $50 million renovating and restoring this place. A few years ago, they found evidence or remnants or something that kind of unlocked the key as to where, when I do my real live stream and do this whole thing, I'll have a map and I'll know what these buildings were. I think, I'm pretty sure this is like Independence Hall. Here's a marker that's going to tell us. That's the building where those fellas met to sign to write and sign Texas Declaration of Independence from Mexico. And that, well, this is a reconstruction of that building. Of course, it's not the original building. This has been here a long time, but they didn't know where the other stuff was until recently. And they did all that. On this spot was made the Declaration of Texas Independence, March 2nd, 1836. Yep, so cool. This was always going to be a test. I wanted to see, we're kind of out in the boondocks. We're about 20 miles from Brenham, and probably it's a few miles on up to the next town, which is Navasota. So out in the country, big time. And I didn't know if I would be able to live stream here or not. I don't have time this evening to cover this whole site. It's 293 acres of stuff. And the old historic town, many of the buildings have been reconstructed. And I want to take a tour. They're going to have in late January or early February somebody's leaving. Okay, hey Deb, she got to go to the doctor. We'll see you, Deb. Thank you for coming in. They're going to have what they call a lantern walk, where you have a lantern or a candle. You have to buy a ticket in advance to be part of the group, and I definitely want to buy one of those tickets and come. And in the evening or after dark or whatever, you walk through this, and it's going to be interactive. They will have actors, people playing like Davy Crockett or some of the founding fathers of Texas, and they will talk about what they were doing at the time, and some of them you get to talk to and ask them. There's a drugstore. I bet the people that owned the drugstore lived upstairs. I would bet. Check it out. We got nature. There's a low-flying buzzard right there. Okay. So I'm jumping all around. Pick me up some drugs. Okay. Well, unfortunately, probably due to the holidays, Jeff, they're closed right now. I'd be glad to hook you up, brother. And let's go see what we have here. Oh, look. It's 3. What time is it after the hour? I don't know. What is it, like 3:30 or something my time? Anyway, it's in the middle of the afternoon. And there's the moon. You can see the moon and the sun both from where I stand right here. That's always cool. Okay, let's go see what this is up here. I know I'm jumping all around. This is a test. Welcome in, Florida. Nice to see you. Rogue 1776, LOL. 1776, a cool number when the United States declared independence from England, right? Well, we're at the place where Texas declared independence from Mexico. And this was the site of the Bailey, Gay, and Hoxie store in the Norwood Tavern. And I'm not going to get into reading the stuff about it, at least not today. The total renovation and restoration of stuff is not complete, but apparently they excavated this, the archaeologists, and they're preserving it, don't want it to be further damaged. But things like this there's the kind of evidence that they found to determine where some of these structures were, and that unlocked the key and to where all the other buildings were relative to that, using the maps that they were able to come up with. Yep, it's pretty green. We have not had a freeze here yet this year, which is a little unusual. Not completely unusual. Okay, here's the Norwood Tavern cistern. This brick cistern is one of the last remaining above-ground artifacts from the historic town of Washington. Likely built in the early 1840s, the underground tank captured rainwater through a series of downspouts and gutters that were attached to the roof of a nearby outbuilding, possibly the stable, shed, or corn crib associated with Norwood's Tavern. Water from this tank would have been used for everything from washing laundry to watering gardens and livestock. You can see the gutter system coming down and down into the cistern. Cool. Some people back there did some amazing things with what they had, right? They figured it out. Endeavor to persevere. Hey, Barry. Nice to see you. Barry is related to William Barrett Travis. That is freaking awesome. Colonel Travis. Mike and Deb here? Did I see? Somebody said hi, Mike and Deb. Are they here? I didn't see that. If they are, welcome, Mike and Deb. I know that they like things like this, history. We'll call this, what do you call it? The condensed version, or the short story, or the preview. This is the trailer for an upcoming live stream, or maybe long form video I'm going to do, because the park closes at 5. I don't have time to walk this entire trail, not even close. Would I have time to cover all this, get out of the park? And I asked the lady, I said, what if I'm way out on the trail and time gets away from me and it's 5 o'clock? What's going to happen? She said, well, I'll tell you. We have locked people in here before. We try to round them up, but we can't always find them, so we lock the gate like we have to do. And she didn't expand on that, whether they would actually come let me out tonight or I would have to wait till in the morning. And I'm not going to find out. By 5 o'clock, I'm going to be on the other side of the gate up there on the highway. It's not really a highway. It's a 2-lane farm to market road. Let's go see what we got down here. You know, it's always a question in my mind. I love this. I love that they do this, the preservation of history. And I just find things like this interesting. I try to place myself back in those times and what it was like, and picture the people that lived there and what they were doing and how their lives were. But $50 million is a lot of money. And a lot of things could be done with $50 million. So I struggle with, you know, is it worth it? Or this stuff could have been written in a book or, you know, drawn in pictures, or in this day and time, it could be an AI, and you could put on a pair of goggles and do a virtual reality tour of this. For less, I don't know. I think it's cool. Is there money? The historic society, something like that. I don't think this is a state park. Oh, look at that. That chimney is made purely out of that, like an adobe type stuff or plaster stuff. I don't know. So I don't have a map with me. I do have a map, but it's not the type of map, I don't think, the one that will say what each of all these buildings are. And I think that thing exists. And I'm sure that when I do the lantern tour here in a few weeks, I'm hoping they won't mind me having a camera and video on the lantern tour. We're going to walk through this with a guide and have the interactive tour. No. See, I have this map, but it doesn't have it does not have the key of, you know, list all the buildings and stuff. It's more just like general what's out here. But the trail that I want to walk, and I want to come up here periodically. I've been kind of jealous, to tell you the truth. I've been watching Kevin Man, he's got all those trails. He's doing that tour of all the trails around the San Antonio area. And I have nice parks to walk in around Brenham, but they're not like nature trails. You know, they're like very urban type parks. You know, you're walking on concrete, whatever. And there's, I don't know, it's just not out in the woods. And this park is 20 minutes from me, about 25 minutes from my house. It's 20 miles. But you see, it's this is one of the things I wanted to test. We're going downhill now because we started out up there in the parking lot and at the visitor center on the highest ground on this property probably, and we're headed directly toward the Brazos River. And between the density and the canopy of the trees and the lower elevations, I've already lost 1 bar since I started explaining that. Went from 3 bars to 2, and I want to see what happens as I descend further toward the Brazos. We're headed toward like an overlook area over the Brazos River. But this is a park, a reasonable distance from me, that's more like a nature walk. And I so much more enjoy getting my steps in like here than on the concrete path in the park in Brenham. And I want to see if I get disconnected. So Jeff is in a goofy music lyric mood. Okay. Well, I wish I'd have done live stream together, Jeff, and you could have joined me and you could have sang as we walk the trail. Don't know much about history. Don't know much biology. Don't know much about my science books, but I do know much about the French I don't know much about the French I took. There you go. Thank you for the lyrics, Jeff. No, I don't. Hi, Rick. Yeah, I don't think it's a state park. I don't know that it's ever been. It's a state historic site, and it is a beautiful day. It's I think it's 50. When I got here, I believe my vehicle said it was 52 degrees outside, and I got crows crowing. And have you ever been here, Rick, to the Washington on the Brazos? I think the Daughters of the Confederacy used to run this place or be the overseers or whatever, but it's been quite a number of years ago. The State Historic uh, Society, whatever it is, the State Historic people took it over. And all the new stuff looks really nice. I haven't toured it all, but they have the conference center up there, the visitor center, the museum, and I've been through that museum one time, and that was in the early 1990s. So after they spent $50 million, a lot of that was on the buildings and the exhibits and all that stuff. I really want to go through the museum. There's a lot to see here. I've read a lot of reviews. Oh my goodness. Is Robert here, Roll Call's Cabin? Man, I wish he would have been here. I don't see him. Oh, hey, Roll Call. Robert, you should have been here. I was just showing cabins built, how they built cabins back in the 1830s. They couldn't stop by Lowe's or Home Depot on the way out to the cabin like you can, but they did really good with what they had. And this is just a test run, a short version, the prelim to a different live stream. This was a test to see how the reception was here and if I would be able to stay connected as I got down here into the river bottom. And so far, so good. Let's go see what's over here. This is not the river, I don't think. I think this might be like a creek that runs down into the river. We're not to the river yet, but there's something over here. Picnic table if I wanted to stop and rest. I'm gonna go see what this, yeah, this is like a creek. I'm sure when we get a lot of rain, well, you can see where all that stuff, the flotsam and jetsam or whatever you call it, you know, it's kind of piled up there with due to runoff. Yeah, this is it's just a valley, like a trough down through here. Get back to the main trail. I like that they have trash cans out here. People reconnecting. Okay, hopefully it just reconnected. I would like to have confirmation that it has. If it is not reconnected, I'm going to end it. And it shows, okay, you're back. Thank you. Thank you for reconnect. To know that it is possible that it will reconnect. Unreconnected. What does unreconnected mean? That I've gone again? Well, if I'm gone, wouldn't tell me. Okay. Do the robot. Here it is. Okay. My test is complete. If I lose y'all, I don't know. I'm heading back, and I now have a pretty good idea that I can live stream easily from up on the hill where all this stuff is, and there's much more to see. So I'll be able to do that as I planned. You're sort of back, but the picture looks like me looking through Coke bottle eyeglasses after 10 beers. Well, how many beers have you had today, Jeff? And you have your Coke bottle glasses on? I don't know. I know not to come down here. When I live stream the next time, I won't be coming down here. I'll stay on top of the hill. And that's where most of the stuff is, the historic stuff. It's just strange to be live streaming, and it shows on my end to be connected. And, you know, I don't know whether you can see me or not. I just babble on. I'm able to read the chat really well since it's not a bright sunshine. Okay, thanks for the screenshot. I think I learned what I need to. When I walk this trail, and I will be back, and I do want to walk this entire trail. I've doubled back now, if y'all aren't able to see that. Heading back to the parking lot. I saw at their website that I looked at this morning that this trail, they still show that the wildflower loop trail was closed due to flood damage or something. But I can tell there's been they've swept like drug it. It's really, I can tell that a blade has drugged this. Apparently this trail is back open. So I look forward to taking that loop when I come back. And I won't be live streaming when I'll just walk the trail. The live stream that I'll do one day soon will be just the stuff up on top. All the old buildings that they reconstructed, and the old town site and the history of it, and have fun in nature. I get that. That's why you do premieres instead of lives in some places. You know, I was reading about that just a couple of nights ago. I got to wondering, what's the difference? Why do people do premieres? And I get it now. I always wondered, what's the difference in a premiere and just a long form video? And it's that it can interact and answer questions and everything with people watching it if they choose to come in when the premiere actually happens. And that makes perfect sense to me. And that way you have the opportunity to edit and, you know, make what you get good audio, good video, make sure you have a good representation of what you did, and you put it out there, and then you still can talk to people about it. Yes, this is the birthplace of Texas, Washington on the Brazos. And one of the early videos that I did, actually I think I got 2 or 3 videos out of it, was last February of 25, the annual Texas Independence Day celebration takes place on this site, and they have a lot of reenactments and all kind of cool stuff. I will definitely be here with the camera in hand this year, and I have learned a lot, a lot, since I videoed there that one. The thing about that is, what happened that day was really cool. In that, oh, is the sock monkey here? Hey, sock monkey. I'm at Washington on the Brazos. I told you I was thinking about it. So anyway, what happened that day, I came up here to make a video about the Independence Day celebration at Washington on the Brazos. And I drive up and I notice these guys that are off by themselves. There's about 10 of them or so. And they've got this equipment set up, like this tower. And it was obvious it didn't have anything to do with the Independence Day celebration that was going on. No way. And I went and talked to them, and they were the ham radio operators club. It was a special worldwide day trying to connect with each other and document who you talk to. And I got them to do a video with me. I had no idea how popular that is. They sent the link to their buddies, their radio operator buddies, and for the longest time, that was by far the most watched video. It was very impromptu, the spur of the moment, came across them. You just never know. Drag your camera out and start talking to people, what might happen. It was a really enjoyable day. And knowing what I know now, I can do it a lot better this coming year. And some of y'all are new coming in. I was saying, and Sock Monkey, I think you and Minnow should consider doing this with me. In January or early February, you have to buy tickets in advance, but they're going to have a lantern walk, or at dusk or dark, whatever. You go on a tour, and it's interactive. They will have some actors playing different roles of people that used to live in old Washington back in the 1800s when all this was taking place. And you get to see what they were doing and about them and ask questions and whatever. I'm planning on doing the lantern walk and hope they don't mind if I have a camera with me. Oh, the uphill stuff is a little tough on me. My calves are burning a little bit, but that's good though. It's what I need to do. Build those collateral arteries. I'll go see my vascular surgeon, I think maybe January 20th, and look forward to that, so he can let me know if I'm still doing good, don't have any further blockage, can't afford any more. Oh, I hope Robert's still here, Roll Call's Cabin. In case he is, Robert, if you're here, let me know. I'm gonna stop by that cabin again and show you when we get up to it on the way back. It's right there on the right. We walked down there. For y'all that are new to come in, that's the rebuilding, a replica of the old drugstore. And there's a bunch of other buildings back in there that when I do the full tour, I'll do. We went over there to the cistern that was at the tavern. And this is where the Declaration of Independence was signed. And I think it was, what was it, 1830? 1832 or 1836. 1836, March 2nd, 1836. So I have learned through history in the past, studying and reading about this. This building was incomplete and they didn't have any coverings on the windows or doors, and it was cold, like bitterly cold, like in the teens. But they still huddled up in there and gathered and came up with their Declaration of Independence and went on with their business, risked their lives and their families' lives, seeking to be free. Okay, roll call cabin is here. Here you go, buddy. So there's a fence built the old way, old school. Well, this it kind of looks new because it is. Well, I was saying this is part of the $50 million restoration of the old town of Washington, where all this history took place, where Texas independence was signed, Declaration of Independence. So the cabin, they didn't have no chainsaws, dude. And they didn't have Lowe's or Home Depot. And I guess, I don't know, what somebody might know, what would those shingles have been made out of? Like cedar plank or something? There is cedar in this area, not right here, but generally in this area, there are cedar trees. And all of this, I guess, would have been made with saws and axes and hatchets and stuff. I wonder how the people that built the replica, how they did it. Because that sure, I don't think they did it all with manual saws. I can't tell if that's a chainsaw or something. It's probably done in a mill with a big electric powered saw. Look at this top of these boards. That looks like it's been hammered or something. I wonder what, there's got to be something to that. It has like a texture to it. It's not smooth. I don't know if that's for traction or whatever. But in this, I guess, is like an adobe, a mud. I mean, it's hard. It's cement. I just think it's cool that people back then, using what they had, that they constructed things like this, a place to stay warm in the winter and get out of the weather, you know, stay out of the rain. And it doesn't snow here a lot, but it can. So there's your construction design. As long as we have some faith that the people that reconstructed it actually did their homework and know what did it the way that it had been done back in the day. To know what that tool is. And this is a new one on me. Check out the chimney. You ever seen a barrel like that on top of a chimney as a stack? It looks just like a whiskey barrel or a wine barrel or a water catching thing. And you can see it's got the plaster, the adobe, the mud around the bottom. Interesting. Yeah, roll call's porch is much nicer. Yeah, roll call's cabin is pretty cool. And I just can't imagine the feeling to, of course, he's had a little bit of help, but for the most part, you could say that man built that cabin with his own two hands for almost entirely. Like 90% of the labor was him. How it must feel to go into a house or a cabin, you know, your dwelling with a sense of pride and knowing I built this. That's pretty cool, I think. I think that's really cool. That's why I enjoy watching. Okay, well, I have learned what I came to learn. I've been on here much longer than I first anticipated. I did enjoy it. I know some of y'all came in late. I would kind of recap. Right there is the visitor center, which was here before, but it has been totally remodeled. renovated, and there's just there's a bunch of new things here that we did not have time to cover today. It's a beautiful place, and I will be back. I'll be coming back here periodically just to walk, to be able to walk that trail, walk out in nature, hang out down on the Brazos River. Hey, Chilo, nice to see you, buddy. You made it right at the end. Hey, I do have a reminder for y'all. I think Valerie's live streaming tonight. It's maybe 7 o'clock her time, which would be 6 p.m. my time. I don't know, check, just a reminder. I know you're all friends with her, or most of y'all are. Hi, Steph, nice to see you. Hey, everybody, I don't know if y'all know, Jersey loves Steph. She is really cool, and I've been watching her videos for a pretty long time, off and on, but I've really been interested in a lot of things she's had to say lately. She's a really cool lady, and she got a big heart, and she just does things right, and she looks at life the right way, and she talks about her faith, and y'all connect with Steph. Give her a sub. I will vouch for her as a wonderful human being, and she and I have something in common. We're going to be working on losing some weight this coming year, and I wish her all the best. I think she can do it. So I just added, Chilo, you're a moderator now, and Steph, you're a moderator. Let's see if I have anybody else I need to give a jacket to. I like to do that so people can connect with each other. And yeah, I think y'all will enjoy. And Steph, these are good people. I think you would enjoy them. I know one person, and I hate to single anybody out, but just knowing you, I can tell you this. There's a guy here named Barry. If you don't know Barry, go ahead and subscribe to his channel. I think what you will enjoy, Barry does, so on Sunday mornings a lot of times he goes into a church, or he may film it ahead of time, and Barry's not a great singer, and he will tell you that. But he doesn't care how good he sings. He cares about what's in his heart. And he's in this church by himself, and he sings a song that he chooses, a hymn or a gospel song. It's a variety of things. And he goes on walks down the road and just talks about his faith and talks about different scriptures and what they mean to him. And oh, you already know Barry. That's awesome. Very good. I'm glad of that. And I'm not surprised by that. And y'all, let's see, been going 45 minutes. We're back at the visitor center. We're back at the back of the visitor center. And for the new people that came in, I'll show you. So this is not super interesting, but right quick, I'll show you right behind the visitor center at the trailhead. The first thing you come to is through all the digging they did and the studying and the records that they found and all that. They were able to reconstruct the old town site where each of the buildings were, what they were, and it looks like this. It very much, they have the same thing at San Felipe de Austin, down near the Stephen F. Austin State Park, which is pretty cool. That's where Stephen F. Austin brought the old 300 families, the first to settle in what was then Mexico. Yep, and there's the proximity to the Brazos River. They did a lot of transporting via ferry boats until the railroad came. Beautiful evening here at Washington on the Brazos historic site, and I want to thank you all for coming in. And I'm going to head home, get to my desk, and I'll be on Facebook and be looking for you folks. If you're watching your videos, or if anybody's going to be live streaming, I'll definitely be at Valerie's live stream this evening. Hi, Tony Curtis. You're a great actor, dude. I'm just kidding. I appreciate you coming in, Tony. We're right at the very end of a live stream. We're about to end it. So you'd be welcome to come back in anytime that you like. Always happy to meet new people. And I'm going to go, y'all. Let me get turned around in here and ask you to treat people the way that you want to be treated and treat the critters well. And I'll be seeing you again soon, okay? Adios. And I am out.